other locations.
Do we have any idea how many people were watching through those modalities?
Yes, I have all the numbers on that. I know off the top of my head that on day one morning, we had roughly the same amount that we're watching on the live stream that we're watching here on Zoom. So it was around 250 on Zoom and about 250 across those.
And more recently than that, we don't know.
I'd have to go back and look at all the numbers, which I will do, but it was definitely, our peak was day one.
I see. Yeah. Okay. I think I understand why, it gets old sitting and watching Zoom talks for hours and hours. So that after day one, people would probably just come on board when a speaker they were particularly interested in speaking. That's my guess.
I think Zoom fatigue is a real phenomenon, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree.
Right. We had an advantage during the first year that it hadn't happened yet.
I think it hadn't happened yet. It was new. People were a little starved for human contact. A lot of the other space organizations just canceled their event and didn't try to do what we did. Mm-hmm. And then the other factor was we had a couple pretty high profile speakers last year.
Well, you think Elon Musk, someone?
Yes. I do believe 40 people are listening in on us, and thank you for letting Cole in.
Excited to be here. Thanks, guys.
All right, I think I have the live stream working. I'm getting that founding document signing form ready. I think we can kind of go ahead and get started.
Right.
Wonderful. So let's get started. Thank you very much, everyone, for being with us for the past 3 or 4 days. And thank you for helping the Mars Society get closer to its mission with your comments, with your ideas, and definitely with your donations. We are very happy to have you all in the Zoom space and in the virtual reality out space. So today we are concluding our evening with a presentation by Coleman Lutz, Bruce Mackenzie, and Jay Kantenga from Mars University, followed up by closing remarks by Dr. Zubrin. So without further ado, I welcome our next speakers, Mr. Lutz, Mr. Mackenzie, and Mr. Tenga. Welcome to the virtual stage.
Thanks so much, Lara, Bob, and James. We're delighted to be here today and honored to present during this year's Mars Society convention. So go ahead and share my screen. Alrighty. So we're gonna present on Mars University, our academic and research programs in 2022, and let's jump into things. So today's speaker will be myself, Coleman, or Cole, and I'm the co-founder at Mars U, and Jekin and Bruce have joined us as well as speakers. You guys feel free to introduce yourselves as well.
I don't want to say much, let's get into it, but I'm Bruce Mackenzie, live in the Boston, USA area. Been with the Mars Society since its beginning. And Cole came to me and said, I want to do something called the Mars University. And I said, I don't know what you are thinking of, but I love the name and I want to be involved. Go ahead, Jenka.
Thank you. Jehan Tanga here. I'm an associate professor at the University of Arizona, and we actively work on research, particularly planetary exploration research. And of course, Mars has always been interesting. We've been working on and off in this area for about 20 years now. And this is an exciting opportunity that Cole has been organizing with, and we're looking forward to participating with him.
Awesome. Glad to have you guys here today and speak. So for our agenda, I'll be presenting for around 15 to 20 minutes, followed by an open discussion and Q&A. And feel free to share any ideas, comments and questions in the chat or verbally afterward. Okay. So on the academic side of things, here are the primary core academic programs we are organizing in 2022 next year. We're planning to host an 8-week online certificate program in January and February next year, and a certificate in Mars settlement and exploration. So it'd be followed after our last previous successful certificate program last August, with a bit more extended and in duration and more in depth and well-rounded in terms of the topics to be covered, with our flagship program called the Mars Studies program that we're planning to hold each year annually during the summer. And this year we're planning for June, primarily in June, for 6 weeks in person. And we're delighted to announce that we're going to be hosting this program with the University of Arizona. There are a lot of factors involved, but they're really a leading pioneer in terms of what they've accomplished to becoming multiplanetary. And so we'll speak more to this program in the several slides, and that'll be a core theme of today's presentation as well. And we're also in early discussions and conversations about co-hosting an in-person program with MIT, an in-person and online program with MIT around the same time frame in January as a 2-week, potentially a 2-week program. And we're also discussing about co-hosting another short certificate program solely dedicated for Asia and the Eastern Hemisphere, and some more details to follow up about that. And we're going to be also taking a deeper dive at IAC next week in Dubai. If anyone will be attending, would love to see you there and meet up. And check-in will be there as well. So for this upcoming online certificate program, it'll be 8 weeks, and it'll be taking place all online. And we're aiming for around 5 to 10 hours per week of live synchronous classes, more flexible to the interactive and working professional lifestyle and schedule, with a bit more affordable courses, around $600 US per course. And they'll be a bit longer in duration as well, because the program has been extended by around 4 to 5 weeks to accommodate the working professional schedule. And we had 8 students who successfully graduated last program in August, and it was really, they're really well accomplished individuals, and most of them had master's degrees. So we're really delighted to have a really highly knowledgeable and impressive first class. And admissions for this program is going to open in early November and close in mid-December. And we believe this is a great time frame as well to start this upcoming next semester. And we're also in discussions and planning to add a course possibly on in situ research utilization and manufacturing on Mars. And we're looking to collaborate with a paid faculty member to teach this course. If you or anyone has any suggestions, I believe that's a really important component of what we're doing in Mars settlement. Yeah, and here's the link to the program webpage there. So here is the Mars Studies program. This is really the kind of the where some of the magic is going to happen. So we're planning to have this program be 6 weeks in duration and an in-person certificate program with up to 36 students, around 5 to 6 faculty, and a whole bunch of awesome guest speakers and lecturers. And so this will be a multi-site program, primarily held at the University of Arizona, and but then also with local maker spaces and with all sorts of exciting field trips and then Biosphere 2 as well, as an analog research station. And so what makes this program unique is that it's really project-based and research-based. And so we're planning 4 to 5 Mars-oriented courses with around 180 hours of instruction. And so participants, staff, and faculty, we can all really, come together and really immerse ourselves in research and labs and really understand on a molecular level what's happening and what will happen in Mars settlements, and to the ultimate goal of helping make life multiplanetary, but then also learning how to live and thrive on the planet and enabling others to do so. And so we're really excited to be collaborating with the University of Arizona to host this first program. And there's also quite interesting, is an option to enroll either in person or online. And so we're planning to live stream all the classes, the lectures, and but if you plan on attending, it won't be as you won't get that same level of hands-on experience, but still be able to collaborate on various projects and team projects. So we're leaning to have this program be more affordable, around $7,500 US in tuition, and that's excluding scholarships. And so this program will be more, we believe it'll be more, one of the more affordable programs as we, learn how to host these in-person programs. And this last summer, I had a wonderful opportunity to work as a staff member with the International Space University during their space studies program, and really learned a lot of the, how they've been able to successfully run these certificate in-person programs for, the past 30 or so years. And so I'm excited to be helping lead this initiative, and has a lot of moving parts, but it's quite exciting. And we have an awesome team here and staff. We're growing, over the months and weeks. So yeah, our 2, faculty so far confirmed will be Daniel Tompkins, who will teach agriculture, and then Jekan Tenga, who's the assistant professor of aerospace and mechanical engineering at the University of Arizona, and he'll be speaking more to what he'll be doing in later on as well. And Thorsten is one of our first alumni, and he's going to be helping lead the logistics. And Abhishek, he's worked with him this last summer, and he's have full confidence in his abilities to carry out the IT operations. And Sarah Sabri is currently a graduate researcher at Mars U, who we plan to have her be a teaching associate and really help bridge some of the research and academics and courses together as a teaching associate. And so there's a lot of opportunity to get involved with this program, and whether it be as a faculty, graduate assistant, researcher, or ambassador. Yeah, if you're interested, reach out. So here's Biosphere 2 and more details about this awesome analog station that's just so happens to be nearby the city of Tucson, where we'll be in. And we're thinking we can go do a field trip and labs on site with a potential overnight stay and access to their facilities, and then hopefully plan a analog mission as well. Should be quite exciting. They're established in the late 1980s, and I think they're the largest biosphere here on Earth. And yeah, quite excited. And then there's also SAM, the newly constructed analog research station that we are exploring opportunities there as well to host analog missions. And so hopefully we'll all congregate here, and we'll be really immersed and be able to conduct a lot of meaningful research and science here. Yeah. Here are a lot of incredible Mars analog environments and sites. If you're interested in getting involved, we'd love to go, learn about these physiological and geological processes in these environments, and really go explore the Western United States together, and really advance our own knowledge and research, and then hopefully apply that to the development of life on planet Mars. We're really excited about a lot of these awesome environments and places. It's kind of overwhelming sometimes, but it's a bright future. And there's so the University of Arizona has so many resources and facilities. We were doing some research in their new school of mining, the Lowell Institute for Mineral Resources is one of the leading mining schools in the US, and so they're located in this mining technology hub that known as the Silicon Valley of mining, as one of the top 25 research institutions, and really pioneering research. And so we're looking to collaborate with one of their faculty members to help lead a course on biomining and bioremediation, and then hopefully bridge that angle into the program, and research as well. Yeah, and we'll pass on the baton here to Jekan to speak more about the Space Treks lab he helps lead at the University of Arizona.
Thank you. Yeah, so we lead the Space and Terrestrial Robotics Exploration Laboratory here at University of Arizona, and we've been around for about 8 years, and we focus on fundamental research, particularly developing instruments, sensors, robot technologies, and also early stage experiments, hypothesis testing of various phenomena. Mars is, of course, one of our growing areas of study, and that area is focused on two major fronts. One has been exploring extreme environments not accessible by current rovers or robots. These are including what are thought to be lava tubes near some of the volcanic or the extinct volcanic areas on Mars. The others include the canyons and cliffs on Mars, particularly the Valles Marineris area, and of course the highland regions as well. So apart from these efforts, we're also looking into technologies for utilizing air vehicles, and so there's been efforts to look into design of sailplanes and of course gliding systems. So there's fundamental research going on there in collaboration with our cohort from aerodynamics. So those two are our primary research focus areas, and then for supporting human missions, we've also been looking into ISRU, particularly design and development of use of fuel systems for Mars return rocket, and there's also been support and ongoing research into technologies for mass sample return technologies as well. So those cover primarily our areas of research at the moment. And you can learn a lot more about our research at spacedirect.arizona.edu.
Awesome. Thanks, Jekin. We met Jekin through a seminar we hosted on his hopping SphereX robots last over the summer. It's quite interesting. And we come back here. We was just thinking that with these Mars analog environments, if you we'd love to help coordinate these field trips, even if you're not a student or participant. We'd love to invite the greater Mars community to participate and join us, whether as a lecturer. We can plan to keep you posted on how that develops, because I think we'd all love to go experience some of these locations and science and research. So there's all sorts of exciting workshops, labs, and team projects where we're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and where the magic is really going to happen is at these local maker spaces. So there are these 3 maker spaces in the Tucson, Arizona city, and we're in discussions with them and about primarily hosting with University of Arizona Catalyst Studios, which is on campus and has all sorts of equipment and facilities, and then some potential lectures from Zero Craft and their abundance of knowledge that they have developed as well, and potentially Saka as well. And so here's the Catalyst Studios. They host laser cutters, 3D printers, sewing machines, vinyl cutters, CNC routers, CNC mills, and microcomputers, and a lot more. And they provide students, faculty, and staff access to their 3D printing and scanning for free. And so we're going to be diving into deeper conversations with them about what sort of arrangements we can coordinate, and then also yeah. And so hopefully you know, we can each become certified with various equipment that we're interested in using to develop our own research and mindsets. And here's more about their facilities and equipment, and some images. Yeah. Our goal is to enable you as a participant, staff, or faculty to really develop the skills and mindset to, you know, to live and enjoy life on the Martian surface, and to really familiarize ourselves with the systems, tools, and equipment beforehand, and really help conduct and advance the research in science. And we begin to think, you know, can we replicate, you know, Martian labs and tools inside of these maker spaces? And it'll be really interesting to see how this develops and grows and blossoms. But we'd love to hear what ideas, you know, workshops and labs we should propose and have during this Mars Studies program and future programs. And, you know, feel free to share your thoughts in the chat. Love to.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for this great overview. We already have one question, and if you're ready, we can take it. We can start with this question from Bob.
Yeah, Cole, were you planning to say more?
Yes, we have more slides. Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Sure.
But
I think there's a hard stop in 30 minutes, but James, correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm pretty sure this is correct. Yep. The hard stop would be at 30 minutes.
Cole, go on to the next slide.
okay. Oh, hard stop at 11. Okay. I gotcha. I thought we had another 15 or so. We'll make this fast. But yeah, all sorts of 3D printing spare parts. So we're also planning to order and provide up to 25 kilograms of Mars regolith simulant, and host this call for research and experiments and team projects with our interested community, and really help organize this research and you know, host these you know, immerse students in teams, and then have them present with a final report and publication and presentation. And so another question here was, you know, what research experiment would you like to conduct with Mars simulant regolith and Martian test environments? And maybe even on top of this, what you know, we could help facilitate some of your interested research, even if you're not attending. We could advance your ideas. So keep us posted. But if there's a hard stop, yes. Yeah, and so that was the education side. This is the research side. We have 4 graduate researchers currently, these very knowledgeable people, and so our research programs are really taking off, and there's a lot of interest. We have 3 new applicants coming in, or researchers applicants, yes, and we're excited. So if you're interested in getting involved, you can apply here. It's yes, and we're open to new partnerships, and we're also working with a team to submit an NSF grant in November and in the spring of 2022. And so there's a lot of opportunity, and we're really delighted to you know, work with the Mars Society and as a partner, and we look forward to helping improve our partnership and finding ways to collaborate over the years, and ISU and Frontier Space and Mars Foundation and ISEC as well. And so, yes, thanks for listening. And take questions or go on to the next one.
Yeah, Cole, let me jump in. So you actually had a little more time than you thought. I'd like to mention some of the ties with Mars Society. We ran an online, a set of 4 online courses this past summer. And 3 of the instructors are on the Mars Society steering committee: John Clark, Ilaria, and Graham Blau, Ilaria Sinelli. And in addition, Daniel Tompkins taught the other course. So those online courses will be repeated and added to, and I'd like to make sure everybody understands we are open and looking for research assistants, graduate researchers, maybe someone who's graduating with a master's degree or a PhD and doesn't quite find the right place that they want to be. So thank you, and questions.
Wonderful. Thank you again for this really great overview. So the first question we have is a question from Bob. They say, is this geared toward the beginner or experienced astronomy students? What are the prerequisites?
I can take a stab. It's a great question, Bob. Leaning toward more on the intermediate level, I think that a lot of people that come to us interested in applying, they've already really identified that they have a potential lifelong passion, and they're more knowledgeable than many. And so kind of initially on the 200, 300 level is what I'm personally leaning toward. And then also as well, because if we were to quantify the quality of our courses over time, and even our faculty, 5-10 years from now, our faculty and instructors will be much more knowledgeable about their topics as well. So not that they're already very knowledgeable, but yes.
So let me take a pass at Bob's questions. The short answer is it was geared toward graduate student level in a related field, maybe an engineering or a science field. However, every instructor had a very brief introduction to bring people up to speed and was willing to talk privately. And I want to stress that, like for the online courses, it was 5 days, classes every day. Some of them were twice a day. So you really get in depth in the subject matter, such as Mars architecture or Mars geology. So unlike attending it, when you attend a conference, many of the speakers spend half their time introducing Mars, introducing the subject, telling you what the environment is like on Mars, what the problem is they're solving. Well, when you take multiple week-long courses, you don't need that introduction every time. So we really got in depth. And we tried very hard to keep it up to a high level. Please put questions in the Q&A if you're able to. I'm also trying to monitor the chat. Go ahead, anyone.
Wonderful. So as we're waiting for the questions, let me ask one question on a similar note, but now it's on behalf of those who might hesitate to apply, but are absolutely needed on Mars. Artists, designers, philosophers, sociologists, economists, you name it. What advice and tips would you have for applicants from the humanities field, not necessarily for the courses, but in general, how can they get involved with the Mars University?
Yeah. On the humanities side, I think with art, there's a lot of opportunity to help design artwork for our programs and courses and but then also research. I think there's so many ideas that that have so much potential, but sometimes they lack that creativity or the graphics. But then also lectures, speaking opportunities on the humanities side, and it's definitely an important part of the curriculum, and inspiration and culture. They can really help inspire and enable the culture during these programs. And so something we're planning to improve upon, yes.
Thank you again. I'm definitely already marking my calendars for 2022, and do encourage folks to not only consider applying, but most importantly, sharing this opportunity with friends and colleagues. You never know when it's a perfect time for your friend or somebody you know to try out something new, and that can change the course of their life. So let's see if we do have any more questions. We do have a question from Harley. They say, is the course material more about the Mars itself, or is it more about learning what it would take to live on a Mars and skills that would be needed there? For example, is it all STEM or other social aspects covered?
Bruce, you want to jump in?
Yeah, so it depends on the class. Mars geology was, how did Mars get to be the way it is? What types of rocks would you find? How were they made? Volcanism, etc. But we also had a class on human factors. We are hoping to add more classes. But the one I want to see the most would be Mars architecture. Designing structures and habitats and workshops for Mars. Let's see, we had a big debate about, do we want to encourage artists and whatnot? And we are open to people of any interest. And if we get a lot of potential students who are interested in one particular field, we will try to add a course, be it, filmmaking, artwork, writing, sociology, government. So we do expect to get into some of the soft subjects. So.
Yes, and that's a really wonderful question, because it's something we don't entirely know yet, but we're aiming to find a good balance between that in terms of the education and material on what we know about Mars and but also what it takes to live on Mars, but then also the research component there, because I think they're all intertwined and related together. And so the more knowledge you have, the more confident you are, the more passionate you are, and it's all this.
Okay, yeah, Cole. So let me segue from. Would this be geared toward people who want to live on Mars? How to live on Mars? We are seriously considering some sort of research station, or using MDRS for that. We were considering having a field trip to MDRS. That's still open. By the way, last summer we tried to have an in-person. I'm sorry, summer of 2020. We tried to have an in-person program on a college campus or at MDRS. None of the campuses could commit to hosting us until because they didn't know what COVID would be like, and it's just as well. So we then switched and planned to hold the entire program at MDRS, but that also had to be canceled. So anyway, so we are considering a program geared toward what it would be like to actually living on Mars, living in a settlement, building a settlement. So And by the way, Dan Tompkins wrote in the chat, he's one of the past instructors, concerning who it is aimed toward. As I said, graduate student levels, but also young professionals. There were a few early undergraduates and high school students who were very interested last time. And we basically talked them out or interviewed them privately because we wanted to keep it at the level of graduate students or above. We will take more senior undergraduates for most of our programs. Now, there are ways that anybody can contribute. Do we have other questions?
Yes, and thanks, Dan. To elaborate on the last question, our goal is also to provide the technical knowledge and the mathematics and the science that underpins, the settlement of Mars and enabling life to thrive, but then also enabling you with the knowledge that that analog research stations have trouble providing in short timeframes with really with so much going on. So we hope to fulfill those knowledge gaps. Yes.
Jay, I believe you're the host. It looks like Doug B in AltSpace has a question. Can you unmute them or what?
Yeah, let me try and unmute them.
Yeah, are you able to hear me yet?
Yes, Doug, we can hear you.
Okay. You bet. I'll try to be quick here. We just had a visitor that popped in here in AltSpace, and after just being here for a minute, he kind of huffed off saying, "Hey, you're all a bunch of Earth haters, right?" And we've been seeing a lot of this lately with the tourism picking up, we know. How might we better present our efforts and educate the public that has some valid concerns about climate change and Earth's future?
Even though I asked for that question, I wasn't ready for it. So throughout history,
I don't know that any of us are.
Yeah. Throughout history, people have always looked for frontiers. They've looked over the ridge. Is the next valley a good place for hunting, etc. And any society that is not ready to expand and moved into a frontier will end up dying sooner or later, or being superseded by those societies that do. And it's the same true for other species. So, we are looking for alternate places to live. There are things that can go wrong with the Earth that are outside of our control. I think we should take the best care of the Earth that we can. Let's see, another argument is we didn't really know about the risk of global warming or nuclear winter until we started trying to model the climate of Venus and Mars. We discovered that Venus had a runaway greenhouse effect, which is now possibly happening on Earth. And Mars had something akin to nuclear winter. Mars was warmer in the past, and Mars might actually have a bistable climate. So if you warm it, it may stay warm. If it's cool, it may stay cool. So that's one of the reasons. Also, the societies that move into a new frontier have new challenges. They learn things, they pass useful information back to the old country. For example, when Queen Isabella, financed Columbus to explore what was then the New World. Things that came out of the New World were improvements in democracy, airplanes. We almost invented decimal currency. No, excuse me, we did. We did invent decimal currency, which has now gone back to Europe. We tried to invent decimal time, but the French did it, and we didn't. So it's very hard to predict what the benefits will be. It's sort of like of what use is a newborn baby? You have no idea. And Doug, I think we have time if you want to describe the habitat and helicopter behind you.
Oh gosh, I'd love to. Yeah, I'll try to be quick though. I know you guys have been hearing a lot from me, so I don't know. Jay, do you want to follow me over to the models?
And people put questions into the chat with the Q&A. So we're waiting for questions.
Um, and on the last question as well about helping improve Earth and climate change, I've personally noticed almost every research project I am involved in related to Mars can directly benefit Earth, and so what we do for Mars is for Earth as well, and the other bodies. Yes.
Yeah, we have no idea what will be invented on Mars to meet challenges on Mars that will also be useful on Earth. Jay is giving us a guided tour.
Yeah. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but
Yeah, we
these
can
are
hear
just
you
some
now.
of the models that we brought into this world. We've got another world here as well that has some their stereo, or not stereoscopic, I'm sorry, panoramic imagery. It's a full sphere you can step into like a bubble.
Hey, I can
And you
see
can
myself.
see one of them's Mars. Yeah, we've been watching on the big screen up here. And we've also got one of those panoramic bubbles set up for the MDRS station, so you can actually go and step in there and see the desert and all the habitats and the like. But overall, yeah, Jay has been doing a fantastic job putting together a bit of technology that really doesn't technically exist. So I've been very impressed with his work here. We should definitely commend him for it.
Okay,
Wonderful.
while we're waiting for people to type their questions, I had a dream about Mars University, which is that there'll be more and more people traveling to Mars, and they will be very bored during their trip outbound from Earth to Mars, so they can take a couple classes while they travel. And then coming back from Mars, they can write their PhD thesis for Mars as part of Mars University. Someday we will establish a satellite campus on Mars, and then later that would become the main campus, and the whatever Earth campus we have would then be the satellites on Phobos and Deimos. And by learning, so everyone on Earth is now connected digitally, at least everybody who's likely to take graduate courses. But the people going to and from Mars and beyond Mars and the asteroids will have a problem with time delay. They won't be able to participate in real time with a web-based, say, webinar or class. And so Mars University will have to become an expert in time delay learning. We tried that years ago with correspondence courses. It didn't work very well. But anyway, there's this opportunity to figure out time delay learning. How do you earn a master's or a PhD when you have a 1 hour delay from from the other students? So anyway, I think there's a possible real future for Mars University. I hope we are the first university to be established on Mars. And if anybody wants to get involved, now is the time. And you don't need any special skills for some of our positions. That's all.
Yes, and it was just thinking it'd be great to discuss about collaborating with the Mars Society and during these academic programs, and how we can improve and enable the bridge. And Bob, would mean a lot, and we'd love to invite you to join us this summer. If you're able to make it in person or online for a talk or lecture, I think our students would be honored.
I'd be happy to give a lecture.
And we're putting you on the spot, Bob. Bob and I first met when he presented his Mars Direct at, I think it was Case for Mars #3 conference. And then later sometime and then he named his book after those conferences, The Case for Mars. Yeah, thank you, Bob.
Yeah, I certainly did. And as
So
I
it-
said, I'd be happy to give a lecture or two at the Mars University.
So Bob, I see your bookcase. How many translations of Case for Mars are you up to by now?
Well, let's see. It's Japanese, German, French, Italian, Spanish, Polish, Russian. The Case for Space, my more recent book, was recently published in Ukrainian and Korean. Chinese, both of them. Case for Mars has actually done extremely well in China. There are actually Case for Mars book clubs in China. And when I visited one Chinese entrepreneurial space company, Link Space, they all had copies of the Chinese edition of the Case for Mars. They're attempting to develop a vehicle which is somewhat comparable to a Falcon 9, as are 4 other Chinese entrepreneurial space companies. So Elon better get his Starship flying soon, because the Falcons, which are the premier launch vehicles in the world today, will soon have knockoff competitors.
By the way, I met Elon briefly at a Mars Society event in California, and he was looking for how to help get life to Mars. And he and Bob talked, and at one time was trying to fund a Mars gravity biosat that would test the health of rats or mice in 3/8 gravity. And in the process of that, he realized that the big showstopper was the cost of launch. And then he tried to solve the cost of launch problem by founding SpaceX. So
Yeah.
it's a connection that goes way back.
Yes, and the leader of the Mars work at SpaceX, Paul Wooster,
Yes.
was the leader of the Mars Gravity Biosatellite, one of the 2 leaders of the Mars Gravity Biosatellite project at MIT, sponsored by the Mars Society. The other leader, Erica Wagner, is a key person now at Blue Origin.
I think Erica might have left. I'm not sure. We got a question from Lyra. What are Mars U graduates involved in now? How can Mars U help them in their future projects? Well, there aren't very many Mars U graduates, because they only had 1 program. And actually, luckily, it was a very small class. They got excellent attention from the instructors. All the instructions were working out their first program. Cole, how can Mars U help alumni?
Yeah, Larry, that's a wonderful question. There's 2 or 3 alumni who are involved. Thorsten with the logistics during the summer program, and then there's also another person involved in with Dr. Graham Law's work and grants and research, and then the graduate researchers, so all sorts of research projects on cyanobacteria, biomedical engineering, bioengineering. There's this whole emerging bioengineering branch that's been like slowly blossoming. A lot of people are interested in getting involved, and so ideally we can help collect the knowledge and information in from the science and literature and aggregate them toward each project.
Hey, Bruce, you
Yeah.
Over the years have spearheaded a number of initiatives. I think one was called Mars Homestead.
Yes.
And another thing that was similar to that, which was looking at developing the technologies for Mars settlement. Are these sorts of things going to be taught at the Mars University?
Yes. I did not want to teach a course myself, in part because I would rather do the developments, then document them and develop a course around them. But yes, we definitely should have and want to have a course on building technologies, in situ resources, and not just fuel, but also in situ building materials. How you might make fiberglass and plastics more easily on Mars than just transporting an entire industrial plant from Earth. So yes, we are still thinking about that. We should teach a course in it. Let's see.
Will that have a hands-on component?
Well, that's the hope with the makerspaces around Arizona State University, is the students would be able to the students might have a workshop and maybe a choice of a couple different workshops, and some of those would design a small component, and then they would build it in the makerspace, either 3D printed or laser cut it. By the way, 3D printing is way overrated. Laser cutting and injection molding are often better solutions depending on the circumstances. So yes, we do want to have hands-on things related to how you would live and build on Mars. If we had when we are hoping to have a research station that might specialize in that. So and it could be related to MDRS, where instead of just simulating a mission, you would simulate construction, or actually do the construction.
The International Space University is known for its design classes, and of course, design classes are a frequent method of instruction used in engineering curriculum more broadly. Are you going to have design classes at the Mars University?
I would like to. I do not want to be the only instructor in it. So, but yes, we should have it, and there might be someone on this call who wants to help out or recommend someone. So yes. By the way, I took a number of architecture courses. I know what an architecture course design class is like. It is very intensive. You basically design something, some building, some part of a city, down to details. We do have 3 more questions that came in. So, excuse me, Bob. Okay, last question from Stuart is the shortest one, easiest to read. Have you considered a course in space or Mars entrepreneurship? No, we haven't, although the subject came up just a few days ago during this conference.
Yeah, and Dan, a wonderful web page from NASA about all these Mars-inspired spin-offs and technologies. And so hopefully Dr. Greg Autry, had him as an instructor, and he's, I think, holds the potential to really be leading, really knowledgeable about space entrepreneurship and potentially Mars entrepreneurship too. And so he's at ASU and hopefully might be able to give some lectures this upcoming summer and online. But
Okay.
would imagine,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Cole, we got two more questions in 1 more minute. Dusty writes, is there any chance we will see a large dome city built to be a major analog, maybe 10 times the size of Biosphere 2? So that would be about 30 acres. I doubt it. And by the way, domes are much harder to tie down to the ground or to a foundation than some other shapes. Dome cities here on Earth as an analog would get very hot in the summer unless you are in northern US or Canada. And even in southern Canada, the weather swings so much, I'm not sure you want it. You might simulate a dome, but have it open for ventilation at different times.
Yes.
I'm not worried about an analog for a Mars city. I would much rather have an analog for the first base and the first settlement and the growing settlement. So one of the things that I've been looking at, and by the way, Bob, I did propose this back in 2008, was a sort of a campus that is a simulated Mars early base or early settlement. And one of the aspects of it could be college classes held there. So if anybody's interested in a merger between a college campus and a prototype, contact me. Dusty also writes.
Dusty, wanted to also chime in and mention I'm quite interested in domes too, and how to enable high volumes, high habitable volumes in domes with high habitable volumes in that require that experience significant pressures and stress, and so I'm think there's a real value proposition toward simulating the vision with Valles Marineris and putting a dome or roof or sheet over Valles Marineris, but start in the Grand Canyon, start here on Earth and then apply that to Mars and help enable Daniel Tompkins' vision as well to colonize Valles Marineris. Yes.
Dusty and Terry, I think we are out of time. I'm sorry. I see your questions. Contact us privately. I believe it's time for Bob Zubrin's closing remarks. Is that?
This is
Yep.
correct.
That's
Yes.
correct.
Thank you very much again, Cole, Bruce, and Jacob. And again, you can reach them out at, let me just check it again, or Bruce, if you can.
I'll type it in the chat, but it's info
Okay.
at info@mars.university. There is no .org or .com on the end. info@mars.university.
Great. Thank you so much. So now it's my pleasure to invite to our virtual stage, Dr. Robert Zubrin, the founder and the president of the Mars Society, with closing remarks. So if you're ready, please take it away.
Thank you. So it's been a great conference. And once again, I'd like to thank all the volunteers who made this possible, people who are watching online. You don't see the hands behind the stage, but there's plenty of them to make this thing work. And without these volunteers, this thing just couldn't happen. This has been an incredible conference. We've actually had 140 talks, including 40 plenaries by some very prominent speakers, NASA Deputy Administrator and other space agency leaders, space business leaders, space scientific leaders, including astrobiologists, astronomers, planetary scientists. We've had engineers, technologists, people leading the way on space nuclear power and other critical systems. We've had educators, we've had philosophers, we've had historians. This is extraordinary. This is a movement. And in considering that this intellectual banquet, my mind went back to our founding convention, which occurred in 1998 in Boulder. 700 people showed up from all over the world. And by the way, I was very gratified that this conference, some of those people who were there then were here now: Chris McKay, Carol Stoker, Penny Boston. I think Charles Cockel was there. And in fact, most of those were part of the Mars Underground that preceded the Mars Society and led to it. And of course, Bruce Mackenzie as well. But began to think about this thing and what happened then and what has happened since. At the founding convention, the Mars Society decided we did three things: outreach to spread the vision, political work to defend and expand the official Mars programs, and projects of our own. The projects went forward. We built the Mars Arctic Research Station, and then the Mars Desert Research Station, and graduates of our programs went on to build high seas in Hawaii and Polish station, and Austrian and Israeli space analog programs as well. And the Mars Desert Research Station became the scene for the initiation of the University Rover Challenge, and then which led to the Polish European Rover Challenge and the Indian Rover Challenge. And thousands of people have participated as crew members in these analog stations, and thousands more have participated as part of design teams of the rover challenges. It's incredible worldwide. And of course, we've held contests, and we've had 170 teams design the Mars cities and have published the 40 best designs in 2 books. And, you know, this is going on. But of all these things, while these are all quite tangible, I do think that the most effective thing we've done has simply been the spreading of the idea. You know, by spreading this idea, we played a role in recruiting Elon Musk to make Mars his calling, a person of incredible ability. And look what he's done. And the members of his team, and I can name many of them who were decided to make Mars their calling because of the vision that we've spread, and what they're doing is incredible. You know, here we are on the brink right now. You know, this has been a long war. This has gone on now 23 years. And if you go back to the Mars Underground, 17 war before that, this is 40 years now since the first case for Mars conference. And but we're making progress. You know, by this time next year, think about it. By this time next year, it is highly probable that Starship will have reached orbit. Fully reusable heavy lift launch vehicle designed for the purpose, created for the purpose by a company created for the purpose of not only sending human explorers to Mars, but actually settling Mars for the full realization of the vision. But we need more of this. We need to keep spreading this vision because we need more Elon Musks. We need more Elon Musks in space industry. We need more Elon Musk equivalents in the arts. We need someone who will be a bigger force in cinema, in pro-Mars, pro-space, pro-enlightenment cinema as Musk has been in the space industry. Because this is an expansive view of the future of humanity is what we are carrying. And it won't be done by technology alone. Technology is key, okay, but we're going to need talented political maneuverers. We're going to need other additional talented businessmen. We're going to need lawyers. We're going to need artists, poets, writers. We need all sorts of people, okay? And we're going to need a public that is prepared to support the endeavors. You know, people talk about the danger of global warming. There'd be no danger of global warming right now if the nuclear industry had not been stopped by a misled public. France has decarbonized its electric grid. 75% of French nuclear power, of French electricity is nuclear. And the United States long since could have decarbonized its electric grid if nuclear power had been allowed to go forward. But it was stopped due to lack of public support. It's now just a marginal thing, and we've got this problem. Well, we can be stopped by achieving human expansion to space if the people do not understand this vision. So we have to spread this vision. And then now this effort, it's done largely by volunteers, but a lot of things we do can't be done for free. You can't publish books for free. You can't run the station for free. You can't do all sorts of things for free. So we've done this conference with free admission because we want everyone all over the world, regardless of their means, to be able to attend. But if you've got some means, please contribute. And now, in conclusion, going back to this, my memory of the founding convention, you should know that we had a document at the founding convention. It's called the Founding Declaration of the Mars Society. And it's still posted online on our website and on the websites of many of our national chapters. It translated into foreign languages as diverse as Chinese, Russian, all sorts of languages. And it states our ideals. It was signed by every person who attended the founding convention of the Mars Society, including some rather distinguished individuals. Mike Griffin later became NASA administrator, was a signer of the founding declaration of the Mars Society. John Young, a great astronaut. Okay, who flew to the moon with Apollo and was the captain of the first shuttle flight. He signed the founding declaration of the Mars Society, and so did everyone there. And it states our ideals. It states why we're doing this. And, because people are asking why. Why is it so important that this be done? And so I've asked now Jim Burke, and he's done this, to create a place at our founding declaration of the Mars Society on the website where you can sign it too, because I know that most of the people who are around the Mars Society today were either very young or not born yet in 1998. Well, you can be a signature to this document too. And it's a very noble document. I contributed significantly to it, as did Chris McKay and the author Kim Stanley Robinson, all contributed to the formulation of this document. And I think it's worth hearing. So I'm going to read it. Okay. This is the founding declaration of the Mars Society, unanimously adopted by the attendees of the founding convention, August 1998, Boulder, Colorado. The time has come for humanity to journey to the planet Mars. We're ready. Though Mars is distant, we are far better prepared today to send humans to the red planet than we were to travel to the moon at the commencement of the space program. Given the will, we could have our first cruise on Mars within a decade. The reasons for going to Mars are powerful. We must go for the knowledge of Mars. Our robotic probes have revealed that Mars was once a warm and wet planet suitable for the hosting of life's origins. But did it? A search for fossils on the Martian surface or microbes in the groundwater below could provide the answer. If found, they would show that the origin of life is not unique to the Earth, and by implication, reveal a universe that is filled with life and probably intelligence as well. From the point of view of learning our true place in the universe, this would be the most important scientific enlightenment since Copernicus. We must go for the knowledge of Earth. As we begin the 21st century, we have evidence that we are changing the Earth's atmosphere and the environment in significant ways. It has become a critical matter for us to better understand all aspects of our environment. In this respect, comparative planetology is a very powerful tool, a fact already shown by the role Venusian atmospheric studies played in our discovery of the potential threat of global warming by greenhouse gases. Mars, the planet most like Earth, will have even more to teach us about our home world. The knowledge we gain could be the key to our survival. We must go for the challenge. Civilizations, like people, thrive on challenge and decay without it. The time has passed for human societies to use war as a driving stress for technological progress. As the world moves towards unity, we must join together, not in mutual passivity, but in common enterprise, facing outward to embrace a greater and nobler challenge than that which we previously posed to each other. Pioneering Mars will provide such a challenge. Furthermore, a cooperative international exploration of Mars would serve as an example of how the same joint action could work on Earth in other ventures. We must go for the youth. The spirit of youth demands adventure. The Humans to Mars program would challenge young people everywhere to develop their minds to participate in the pioneering of a new world. If a Mars program were to inspire just a single extra % of today's youth to scientific educations, the net result would be tens of millions more scientists, engineers, inventors, medical researchers, and doctors. These people would make innovations that create new industries, find new medical cures, increase income, and benefit the world in innumerable ways to provide a return that will utterly dwarf the expenditures of the Mars program. We must go for the opportunity. The settling of Mars, of the Martian New World, is an opportunity for a noble experiment in which humanity has another chance to shed old baggage and begin the world anew, carrying forward as much of the best of our heritage as possible and leaving the worst behind. Such chances do not come often and are not to be disdained lightly. We must go for our humanity. Okay. Human beings are more than merely another kind of animal. We are life's messenger. Alone of the creatures of the earth, we have the ability to continue the work of creation by bringing life to Mars and Mars to life. In doing so, we shall make a profound statement as to the precious worth of the human race and every member of it. We must go for the future. Mars is not just a scientific curiosity. It is a world with a surface area equal to all the continents of the earth combined, possessing all the elements that are needed to support not only life, but technological society. It is a new world filled with history waiting to be made by a new and youthful branch of human civilization that is waiting to be born. We must go to Mars to make that potential a reality. We must go not for us, but for a people who are yet to be. We must do it for the Martians. Believing, therefore, that the exploration and settlement of Mars is one of the greatest human endeavors possible in our time, we have gathered to found this Mars Society, understanding that even the best ideas for human actions are never inevitable, but must be planned, advocated, and achieved by hard work. We call upon all other individuals and organizations of like-minded people to join with us in furthering this great enterprise. No nobler cause has ever been. We shall not rest until it succeeds. Thank you. Let's do it for the Martians. See you next year.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Zubrin. And I think Bruce is also sending the links so that you can sign the Mars Society founding declaration.
Yes, I
Yep.
put the link to the document, and if you go to the bottom of the document, there is a link that you can click on to sign it.
Okay, so let's close the conference. On to Mars.
I'll leave it open for a moment for people to copy the link.
Guess we're ready to end. All right.
Yes, I think they were letting them copy the link out and then ready to end.
Sounds good.
See you, everyone.
See you next year. Over and out.
Brian has something about a public hearing for Starship.
I can send the chat to anyone who wants it. They can just ask me through email. I have all the chats and Q&A panels. There's also on the chat screen, there's a little option. If you click the more button at the bottom right, the little 3-dot button, there's an option to save the chat there. Thanks, Brian, for posting that.
Okay, I'm out for the evening.
Thank you so much, Jay. Really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. We'll talk later next week or following
Yeah.
week after you get some rest.
Sounds good. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end the call unless anyone needs anything. Thank you all. We'll see you next year.